Rashil Kotial, you can raise your hand after the lecture so that you can ask your questions to Dr. Viraj Nimbal. Okay, it's gone on recording. Okay, Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar, can I start off the session, please?
Sure. Thank you so much, Aniket sir, and
Dr.
thank
Viraj,
you
can I
all
start off the
students
session?
for. Sorry.
We cannot hear you, sir. There is a small lag in your talking. There's a lag in your talking.
Yes, I realized that my internet connection is unstable, so I switched off my video.
Very good, sir. So before I start
You
off, let
can.
me just introduce you to the forum. Dr. Viraj, I'll just introduce you to the forum of the students who have joined in. So basically today is, I would like to welcome all my students to this wonderful Saturday morning. The date is 3rd of July and the time is 11 o'clock in the morning. Again, let me tell you, we are privileged and honored that today we have Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar, who has accepted to talk to you all about Ayurveda cuisine. To give you a small brief about Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar, he is basically a Ayurveda physician with Taj Hotel Resorts and Palaces. Let me tell you, as far as qualifications go, he has total experience. So that is what I got from his CV is 10 years. But if you see in his 10 years, he has done a lot. He has a bachelor's of Ayurvedic medicine and surgery. He has certification in stress management. He has certification in time management, certification in career management. He has done in spa, leadership and management in hospitality, and what caught my attention was basically his hobbies. He loves to read, he loves to write, he loves to jog. That means he loves jogging. And I could see also the piano. That means he loves to play the piano. So we would like to know more about his hobbies also, Dr. Viraj, when you're talking about your journey as
Sure.
Ayurveda physician with was the mission of Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar. He has written in his CV, his mission is lifelong learning. Thank you very much for that inspiration, sir. And I think we all are lifelong learners. One more thing which caught my attention in his CV was Ikegai evangelist. I knew about Ikegai, that is finding a purpose in life. And there we have Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar, who is also an evangelist. He's a person who is he is a Ikegai evangelist. That is what one more thing which caught my attention, and I think we'll be knowing more about what Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar does as evangelist. Thank you, Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar, for accepting our invitation, and we are all looking forward to learn more about our Indian Ayurveda. So it's all over to Dr. Viraj Nimbalkar.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you all the students for joining on a Saturday morning. So, without wasting time, we'll just dive into the topic. Um, Aniket sir, is the slide changed?
No, it is not changed, sir. It is not changed yet.
Okay. Now?
Not yet.
Yes, it is changed.
Can you represent it and keep? It is changed. Okay. Yeah, I cannot see it.
Sir,
So
it's changed.
Aditya,
It
you
is
also
changed.
keeps telling. Oh, okay, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Thank you. Yes, it is changed.
So, do you remember the last time you visited a restaurant? When you enter the restaurant, you're greeted by a cordial host or hostess who escorts you to a comfortable seating area. As you settle in your seats and admire the ambience, the server approaches you with a warm smile and greetings and hands over to you a piece of literature. That is a list of dishes which the in house chef has crafted for you. Every dish name is a list and has description of the ingredients and how it has been blended to make the dish. In the simple terms, it is called a menu card. But it is not simply a menu card. It is exhaustive list of choices presented to you and you have to make an appropriate choice. It is always better to have a choice at hand. but making a choice out of list of 50 plus food dishes can be stressful. In fact, there are various researches and social experiments conducted which prove that more choices given, more difficult and stressful it is to make a choice, resulting into less happiness and less satisfaction. Many successful people deliberately limit their incidences of choice making in a day-to-day life. Few of the commonly known examples are on the screen: Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, etc. You and me face such incidents several times in a normal day. Thrice a day, we make a choice of what we should eat, and the choice we make is either right or wrong. But are we really mindful of the choices that we are making for our meals? That's a question which needs a lot of contemplation. And in this session, we will see how to make right or wrong choices. I came across this quote which appropriately describes our eating habits. It says food is rational. No, food is not rational. Food is culture, food is habit, food is craving, and food is identity. Some foods are common in certain cultures. Some foods are exclusive to certain cultures. For example, in India itself, vada pav will indicate the Western Maharashtra or Mumbai. Rajma chawal indicates mostly North India or Central India. Idli or dosa indicates South India. Momos indicates Northeast India or North India, and so on. Some foods are matter of habit, regardless of rational or irrational. Sometimes we eat merely out of craving. Imagine you had a stressful day at work. You skipped your lunch because you didn't have enough time. Clock is ticking 5 p.m. and you're starving for food. What are you likely to eat? A vegetable salad, fresh fruit salad, or a pizza and a glass of cola? Again, the choice that you make here has come out more out of craving, and regardless whether it is right or wrong or rational or irrational. We all know at 5 p.m. you skipped your lunch and vegetable salad is the right thing to have. But are you really going to have that? Most of us prefer pizza and cola. Some foods have become identity. Some communities do not eat pork. Some communities do not eat beef. Some communities do not eat garlic. But yes, in India, we all exist together. Today, we are trying to encompass all the above discussed factors with the help of topic titled Ayurveda cuisine or Ayurveda cooking. What is Ayurveda cooking and why do hotel management students need to know about Ayurveda and Ayurveda cooking? How do we cook Ayurveda food? Let us quickly dive into the topic. The first point is, why do we need to be aware about Ayurveda cooking? The answer is simple. The world around you has gradually turned towards Ayurveda. The popular fairness cream over 4 decades has come up with a new product with Ayurveda expertise, that is Fair and Lovely with Ayurveda care. Colgate toothpaste from Palmolive has developed an Ayurveda toothpaste. The two biggest FMCG companies in India have expanded their product with the help of Ayurveda. Even the leading supplement brand of the world has expanded their product with the help of Ayurveda. This is the Ayurveda product by Nutralite. The recent article published in a leading newspaper stated that Amway India eyes 100 crore revenue from nutrition category. Now that's a lot. Fair, but will it be helpful for hospitality industry? Will Ayurveda cuisine be feasible? Is it commercially viable? Why not? In fact, it is a value added component. Let's see how. Consider the marketing mix. The term marketing mix is a foundation model for businesses, historically centered around product, price, place, process, promotion, people, and physical evidence. The marketing mix has been defined as a set of marketing tools that the firm uses to pursue its marketing objectives in their given target market. Further, let's see what is product mix. Product mix is product length, product depth, and product width. In a case of restaurant menu, the usual menu always consisted of bread, appetizer, soup, main course, dessert, and beverages. In the last decade or say half decade, wellness menu is an added component in many restaurant menus, especially in the five-star hotels. Now, this is the past, this is the present, and adding Ayurveda cuisine is going to be a future. But what is Ayurveda? Is it merely, say, herbal medicines or oil massages, which we see in Kerala Ayurveda ads, or is it Panchakarma? What it is? Ayurveda, in simple terms, is lifestyle encyclopedia. It is a compilation of standard operating procedure when it comes to prevention of diseases and enrichment of health. It largely focuses on wellness component. It is a comprehensive collection of all daily activities out to be done, and if done right, does not cause any disease or illness in the body. Now, by disease, I don't mean to mention heart disease or cancer or diabetes. I intend to mention lifestyle disorders like stress, hyperactivity, headaches, hair fall, skin issues. And these common issues are very much relevant to hospitality industry. Hospitality industry being people to people industry, it is very stressful, and Ayurveda is one stop solution for all the lifestyle disorders arising of the hospitality industry. Let's check further. So this is the vast literature from ancient Indian subcontinent. Today we will consider only few of them. So we'll consider these four literatures, and I will explain you how it has described culinary art and cookery, which will be helpful to understand the fundamentals of cooking, or as we say, algorithmic cooking. Ayurveda Samhita will help in understanding food, classification of food, food properties, and effect of all the above on human body. Let us begin with fundamentals of cooking or algorithmic cooking. What do we mean by algorithmic cooking? To understand algorithmic cooking, or Pak Shastra as it is called in Sanskrit, you're taking an example of meat. So how many of you are non-vegetarian? And whoever amongst you are non-vegetarian, how many of you prefer to eat meat in its raw form? There are regions in the world where meat is eaten raw. I guess it is called beef tartare. But to make it more palatable and absorbable to human body, we cook the meat, which is also known as paka. Paka is a Sanskrit word term for cooking. So I just keep on slipping the Sanskrit terms as well. You may try and remember few of them. Few of them are very familiar because the Marathi and Hindi language has come out of Sanskrit language, so it won't be much difficult. The simplest form of paka, or cooking the meat, is to roast it on fire. Sorry for that glitch. The simplest form of paka, or cooking the meat, is to roast it on fire. Barbecue is the closest example. Next is Mishri Karna. What is Mishri Karna? To enhance the digestibility or to alter the palatability, to make it even more appreciable to the five senses, we can add water, curd, oil, sauce, or even wine. Now, this is a discretionary process. Chefs can decide whether to do this or no. Next comes Sansrushta. Best example of Sansrushta is salt. We can either apply salt to the meat before cooking, while garnishing, or even mix it in the Mishrikarna base, whichever base we use. The Salt Bay is a very famous example of how you can use Sanskrishta and make your own personal branding. Next is Sanskrita. Sanskrita is adding of spices, aromatics, or using special ovens or utensils that can distribute or control heat evenly. Chef may harness all the skills to make the meat pleasant for all the five senses